Jesus meets us in these places. We can call this shame. These are all little elements of shame. It's that sense we don't feel good. We feel defective. We're not good enough. And you know, every one of us have been. When I was in high school, I won't talk about my recent shame, too painful, can't say it yet, because I kept thinking as I was preparing this, going, gosh, I'm being vulnerable. What happens if these people have never felt shame or never felt vulnerable in their life? And I go, what are they going to think of me? They're going to think I'm some sort of nutcase. But I figured this was a safe story to share. When I was in high school, I grew up in Chicago, and I grew up in a suburb outside of Chicago called Niles. And I went to Maine East High School. Big high school. My graduating class was over 800 students. And we would take the city bus that ran down Dempster Avenue. And it was March, but the weather was kind of like this, where it would be freezing, raining, and the bus shelter. And then there was this big pond from all the melting snow that was freezing and melting and all of that. So you would run from the front door of the high school to catch the city bus, because you didn't want to miss it for whatever reason. There was another one coming in 15 minutes, but you wanted that bus. And so everybody is racing to get to the bus. And they're all stepping on this ice. And that was really cool, because I thought, I came running. And for some unknown reason, the ice broke. It was a huge pothole. I lost my balance. I lost it all. My books went one direction. I got stuck in this hole. I am wet, totally. And the bus driver was yelling at me to hurry it up. I was stuck in this hole, and I was a cool person, I thought. I couldn't cry, I couldn't laugh, I was too cold, I was wet, I was humiliated, and everybody, I felt like the whole world was looking at me. And nobody was helping. And I finally got out of there. Someone finally grabbed my floating books, and I finally got out, and I am dirty. My cute coat, dirty. My jeans sopping wet, and then the bus driver yelled at me again for getting water in his bus. I was humiliated. I was a sophomore, I wanted to be cool in front of the senior guys. I looked like a wet dog. And people laughed. No one sat next to me on the bus. Until I got home, I cried. My mom yelled at me too. She told me to be more careful, which wasn't really helpful because I was already humiliated and I never wanted to go back to school again. But I went. And it was the dean of the school who, for some unknown reason, was looking out his window, and he saw what happened. And he called me into his office, which was a little bit humiliating as well, because I'd never been to the dean's office. Remember, I was goody-goody. And so I thought, now I'm in trouble. And so the dean said, I saw what happened, and I'm sorry that happened to you. And I was like, oh, okay. He says, I called the city. They're going to fix that pothole. And I didn't know what to say, but suddenly the embarrassment wasn't so bad. Someone understood. The disciples know what it's like to be humiliated, embarrassed, vulnerable, and a whole lot more. But what does Jesus do? He lays out a banquet for them and invites them. In their brokenness, in their vulnerability, he says, and vulnerability, embarrassment, guilt, is grace. It's that unconditional love that is the healing balm of that vulnerability, that shame, that embarrassment, saying, you're okay. You're okay. Each of you here today have shame of some sort. You have guilt. You've been embarrassed. You've been humiliated. And Jesus has come to my table. I will feed you. I will love you for who you are. No conditions. I love you. Come. The table is set. And we don't get to stay here because we're called out into the world. Because what is the natural response when you have felt loved and you felt cared for? There's no words here. Natural instinct. It's your natural response to that love is to love someone else. That's what this text is calling us. This Christ who is alive and well and active in our world asks us to love and to love others. I want to close with this poem, and I tried to memorize it, but it didn't work. And it was too important to say it right for its full meaning. It was written, it was quoted, it's a quote of Nelson Mandela, and our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that frightens most of us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And let our light shine. We give other people permission to do the same. As we liberate from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So this Easter season, live boldly, knowing that Christ died for you. He rose and he will come again. Amen.